Hey everybody, my name's Justin, and today I'm going to be reviewing Shinedown's newest album, Planet Zero, released just last Friday. This is their 7th studio album, and I gotta say, I have some thoughts. So whether you're a fan of the Florida-based group or simply curious as to what this album sounds like, stick around to the end of the video because I'm about to break it all down. Planet Zero was originally supposed to come out in April of this year, but it was pushed back because of delays in CD and vinyl production. On the surface, this album seems a little out of the ordinary since it has 20 songs, but 7 of those songs are actually filler tracks that are under 60 seconds each, so the album still clocks in at 48 minutes and 56 seconds total. These filler tracks are used to set up the album's tone and transition between songs, and we'll talk more about them in a little bit, but first let's talk about that tone, or rather the problems with it. I'm gonna be blunt. Planet Zero has absolutely no idea what it wants to be. Based on the packaging and the first few songs, one might assume that this album is going to be an intense, unbridled experience. The first 2 songs, not counting the introduction, set the stage for this album to be crunchy and futuristic and electronic, but that's just not the case. Almost half of the real songs on this record are mellow or flat out ballads, generally lacking the texture and the tones of those first couple of songs. And while utilizing the quieter side of the spectrum is not a terrible thing, the sheer quantity of lower energy songs went against my established expectations and completely threw off the listening experience. There were multiple instances where I was prepared and honestly hoping for a high octane song to forcefully reclaim my attention following a ballad, only to be greeted by another timid song with exactly the same style as its predecessor. Now that's not to say that these songs weren't enjoyable. If Shinedown is good at one thing, it's writing objectively good songs that can appeal to a wide audience. Some of these songs were positioned well and provided necessary pace changes, like the first true ballad, A Symptom of Being Human. This song, while having a very poppy melody, is peaceful and kind of soothing. The lyrics were a little strange, but considering the song is about being strange, it actually makes sense. This is one of the only lower energy songs that worked for me though. Dysfunctional You is fine, but it's plagued by word vomit and a lack of true climax. The song Hope is upstaged by the ballad that comes before it and felt kind of unnecessary. Daylight is about as close to a pop song as Shinedown can get without just switching genres, and it's pretty, but that's about it. Finally, the last track of the album, What You Wanted, is essentially 3 minutes of the band saying the album's over without providing any kind of meaningful conclusion or wrap up.
It's over.
It's like at the end of a YouTube video when the person signals that they've shared everything important for that specific video, and then they just keep talking or ask people to like and subscribe and check out their website for another 5 minutes at the end of the video. The song was completely pointless, and I doubt I'll ever listen to it by itself in the future. Speaking of liking videos, if you're enjoying this review, you should hit the like button. What a segue, right? It's a terrific way to support this channel and spread this review to more people, and plus, it's free, and who doesn't like free stuff? Okay, we've spent a while talking about the low energy tracks from Planet Zero, so now let's talk about some of the other songs. High energy tracks like No Sleep Tonight, Planet Zero, or The Saints of Violence and Innuendo were some of my favorites from this album. Some of the other upbeat tracks like Clueless and Dramatic or Army of the Underappreciated were decent, but I wasn't a fan of Brent Smith's melodic choices. Dead Don't Die and America Burning both had cool guitar riffs and delivery, but they sounded too similar and they shouldn't have been right next to each other on the record. That was a big problem with this album. Similar songs being placed one after another, cheapening the experience and eliminating their ability to stand out from one another. It's a shame too, considering these tracks would do fine on their own, or if they were separated from each other, but that's just not the case on Planet Zero. Before I share my concluding thoughts, we do need to talk about those 7 filler songs. These songs are meant to serve as transitions and story beats, but I didn't get it. They felt exactly like what I've been calling them this whole video. Filler. I don't think they added anything interesting to this record, nor did they make me feel more engaged with the songs that preceded or followed them. A transition is supposed to guide listeners from one song to the next, resetting your attention and preparing you for what's to come. But these songs did the opposite for me. The transitions felt jarring and unorganized, like when you listen to a concept album out of order. I get that Shinedown was going for a thought-provoking story with imagery and world building, but I think this record would have been better off without most of these tracks. They add unneeded length and noise to a conflicted record and ultimately will distract the listener more than anything else. By the way, if you want to listen through this record without any of these filler songs, I've created a Spotify playlist playlist that you can visit using the link in the description below. Planet Zero is an album struggling through an identity crisis. It starts with high-octane, electric-infused hard rock, but then it quickly switches to softer, radio-friendly ballads for the middle. It tries to regain its momentum near the end of the album, but by that point, it's already too late. The album stumbles to a half-hearted conclusion that left me with little desire to revisit the record. Planet Zero is at best a collection of songs that somewhat relate to one another, but it's far from cohesive or consistent. If all you want are a handful of songs to enjoy out of context, or maybe add to a different playlist, then you'll probably like the ones that I mentioned earlier. However, if you're looking for anything more substantial, there are many better albums that you could listen to, like Projected's newest record, Hypoxia, which I break down and review in this video. Go check it out next if you're looking for another new album to try out, and I'll catch you next time.